We have to get rid of any music with Jarrett in here. You look like you're injured. Are you dancing or are you injured? Or both? This is how you convey injury with through the art of interpretive dance. I'm going to play some Jonathan Gannon cuts on Kyler Murray in a second, but I'm going to first play this one. You know what? Before we start, Jarrett.
Okay.
We've
already started. What do you mean before we start?
No, we need to start over. It's
Okay.
back to 10 o'clock, please.
All right.
What? How much has your perception of Kyler Murray changed over the last 2 years?
My perception of him hasn't changed that much, but
Okay.
I know that
So then what is your perception of him right now?
he's a very talented quarterback
Okay.
who needs to be put in the right system to succeed to his maximum potential.
Okay.
The leadership thing, I never knew him well enough. I didn't know him personally at all. And you can only go by what you hear. So if that's specifically what you're getting at, obviously over the last 2 years, the reports of him growing as a leader has been everywhere. All the players he's been teammates with, his coaching staff, have said not only is he a good leader, but he's gotten better as a leader.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to play this because I'm with you there. Like it seems I get it if you are a Cardinals fan. I think they have a good quarterback. I think they have a good quarterback who has not reached his ceiling yet. Do I think he's ever going to be Patrick Mahomes? No, but I still think he could be a top 10 quarterback in this league. I get it, though, if you're a Cardinals fan, you're like, I don't see it in terms of winning a Super Bowl. So why, if you don't think you can win a Super Bowl, that's not my stance, but I at least understand it if you're emotionally invested as a Cardinals fan. But I'm going to play you a cut from producer Pat.
Producer Pat.
Evan Cohen and Chris Canty. Okay, this is from this morning. So this is a national perspective on Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Which I thought was getting better until I heard this.
At what point do the Arizona Cardinals have to just admit that they made a mistake with Kyler Murray and that paying him was a big mistake and that he's never going to be able to get his game to the next level and that he's never going to be able to take them to anywhere that they want to be and that he's probably a nice guy, but he's not the player that anyone thought he was going to be and that paying him that much was a complete waste of money? Because it feels like we're going to be at that point this year at some point where we're like, why did they do that? That was a terrible idea. He's fine, but he's not worth the money that they paid him.
Okay, I know that, CeCe, you don't want to destroy other NFL players, but I'm going to try my best to get you to destroy this guy.
Okay.
The moment they felt they had to put a study hall clause in that contract. Okay, that's all I had to do. I did it.
Yes.
There's your answer, Pat. CeCe's reaction to a simple question answered your question. That's when they realized, oh boy, what did we do here?
Okay, it feels like that cut's from 2 years ago. It's from like 4 hours ago.
Here's the thing. When you are the Arizona Cardinals and you have not been nationally relevant in a couple of years, when you're Kyler Murray and you missed essentially an entire year playing, people don't keep up day to day, week to week like they do here.
True. Yeah.
So they only know the big headlines. And there was no bigger headline, and there's no more damaging thing that he will literally never be able to get rid of unless he wins a Super Bowl or something.
Yeah.
Than the study clause. That was so damaging to his reputation because everybody knows about that, but nobody's followed the last couple years week to week of what he's done to sort of push that back and erase that.
It's a weird thing to all of a sudden, again, I get it if that conversation was from 2 years ago, but for some national show to be like, you know what,
but
there's a real problem.
what has he done? If you're a national media member, what has Kyler Murray done in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I just feel that conversation is from 2 years ago.
He's been on a team that's won 8 total games in 2 years.
But he didn't play for, half of that time. Here, this is Jonathan Gannon yesterday on Kyler's competitiveness.
Yeah, I'm going to keep some of that stuff private, but if you go play chess against him, he'll beat you. Both ways, meaning the ones with the timer and then the times that you can sit and think about your move for a half hour, he'll beat you both ways. But really when I talk about his competitiveness is his will to win is it matches what I think it should look like. And it's a full-time process. It's a full-time thing that is in his brain that he's thinking about. And his will to win is very high.
Here's another one from
That was
Gannon.
a weird clarification on the two kinds of chess.
Yeah, the one where you have to think and the one where you just go. Here's another one from Gannon.
He's doing really. We had a good talk this morning. The guy's constantly thinking about ball. It's like I was being a dad a little bit this weekend, and it was like, what are you asking me? What play is that? but he's doing a good job.
I don't know if this is going to translate to success on the field. Like, we actually have to see that happen. But by all accounts, Kyler Murray doesn't leave the practice facility anymore.
The quote from last week that
on your show,
his Lambo.
Yeah,
I mean that quote sort of encapsulizes the entire offseason about how focused he is. How many times this offseason already have we seen pictures of him with teammates at various events, as if he's just going out of his way to connect with the team this offseason. But again, if you're looking at the national media, nothing will change unless he wins an MVP or wins a Super Bowl or gets far in the playoffs.
Well, here I've got more from that producer Pat, Evan Cohen, and Chris Canty conversation.
Yeah, but you took him with the number 1 overall pick. So you got to try to give him as much runway as it takes to develop him. I just think we're running out of runway right now, though. I mean, right? And they took Marvin Harrison Jr. with the 4th overall pick. They decided to pass on the quarterbacks that went after him. I think it was Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy, and Bo Nix. They passed on all of those dudes. And that was a vote of confidence somewhat in Kyler Murray. If he doesn't repay that in kind by having a big season, then I could see Arizona moving off of him. And I think the contract lends itself to them getting rid of him after this year. So, yeah, I mean, you've had Larry Fitzgerald as one of your lead receivers. You've had DeAndre Hopkins. You've had A.J. Green. If you can't make it work with those guys, you can't make it work with Marvin Harrison Jr., then maybe it's just the quarterback and it's not the receiving core.
I would agree that this is a big year for him.
I think in a roundabout way they made a point there.
Yeah.
In that
Chris Canty did at the end, I thought made it an actual point.
I think that if Kyler Murray is not, I don't want to be hyperbolic and say great, but if he is not really, really good this year, then they really do have to think about what his ceiling is, because he's had a full off season. He's got much more talent around him. He's comfortable in the system. Everything is on the upward swing. If he doesn't show that he could be great this year, they have to think about it.
Yeah, and I think they will. But I think you need to actually, they've put the pieces around him now for the most part. He doesn't have a Super Bowl roster around him, but he's got weapons, and he's healthy, and he's got a coach, and everybody a year ago was like, well, Cliff Kingsbury's the problem. Well, if he was the problem, now you, in theory, should have the solution. What do you think, I know we got to hit the break, but what do you think they would have done? Because, when they're sitting there going, well, they could have taken J.J. McCarthy. I don't know. Give me the guy that's actually, a proven good NFL quarterback. What do you think, though, if they had the first pick? If Houston really had been bad, or if the Cardinals, if Kyler hadn't come back till the end, and they actually could have taken Caleb Williams, do you think that would have changed anything?
I think they were going to stay with Kyler. I think this coaching staff and this regime literally, truly does believe in Kyler as the future. Now, they'll test that out next year.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.